Hey, Andrew here for mynexttablet.com. Today with an unboxing of the Shuwi Hi 13, which is the 13.5-inch tablet. It's not sold directly in Europe or in the United States. Instead, you can get it from China, import it from China, and you can do it via a couple of stores, including GearBest, and they are the ones who send it to me. There, the Shuwi Hi 13 costs $310 US. Sometimes there's special deals, just check it in the description. And yeah, sometimes it's a bit more, sometimes a bit less. And in this video, we want to unbox the Shuwi Hi 13. It's really interesting because it has a 13.5-inch display. But before we take a look at that, let's take a look what else is inside the box here. We've got a couple of, it's warranty and quick start guide and so on. Then we've got some stickers that we can put on the tablet if we like to. And then inside here, we probably have a charger and so on. And we do indeed have a charger here. That's a USB Type-C charger with the power plug here. I have a European one here. And then we've got another USB Type-C to standard USB cable. And yeah, that's what's included inside the box. You can get the Shuwi Hi 13 with a keyboard dock and with optional stylus as well. But yeah, they only sent me the tablet itself that we will take a closer look at now. I already turned it on to install games and also to do some benchmarks. One benchmark, just so I have to show a bit more. Let me quickly put in my Windows password here. Alright, let's go around the device, and we're starting with the main feature of the Shuwi Hi 13, which is the display. The screen is 13.5 inches, which is really big, and it has a resolution of 3000 by 2000 pixel. So it's not only a very big display, but also a very high resolution display. And in fact, it's supposed to be the same screen like we've seen in the Microsoft Surface Book, which is really expensive. And yeah, it certainly has the same dimensions and same resolution. Overall, I really like the display so far. You probably can't really see it in a full HD video here, but compared to my full HD notebook, the display looks really nice here. We have obviously very high pixel density, and icons and text look very sharp. There's only one minor downside I'm seeing with the display here, that there's about, let's say, 0.5 millimeter of a distance between the touch surface, the touch screen, and the IPS panel below it. With other cheap tablets, we see that quite often, and with this one as well, although this is certainly one of the better ones. It also appears that there's no kind of Gorilla Glass or so, and instead there's a pre-applied screen protector on here already. Alright, so the display is really nice. It has nice viewing angles as well. Although with these screen protectors, or with touchscreens in general, they are quite mirror heavy, but I've got the brightness pretty low right now. We've got a 2 megapixel front camera, a capacitive Windows button. Then on the top we have a power button. I hope you can see that, a power button and a volume rocker, and then nothing else. On this side we actually have two speakers on this side and 2 speakers on the other side. So in total, this tablet has 4 speakers, and the sound is actually pretty good, especially for a cheap Windows tablet. The sound is certainly better than my Asus ZenBook. Then we've got a couple of connectors here, a micro SD card slot, a USB Type-C port, a micro USB port, an HDMI out, and a standard 3.5mm audio jack. On the back, first of all, on the bottom, we've got a connector for the optional keyboard dock that you can get, and yeah, it's probably wise to get it with this huge tablet. It weighs about 1 kilogram, and obviously I can hold it right now and it's not too heavy, but you won't hold it in your hands for a very long time. It's just too big and yeah, too heavy for that. So I would get a stand or something at least, or just the official keyboard dock. On the back, we've got a 5 megapixel camera, and everything here is made out of aluminum. In fact, it really feels quite high-end, surprisingly high-end, much nicer than the Cube Mix Plus, for example, and actually a bit nicer than the Acer Switch 3 as well, which is more expensive. So I really like the build quality here. It's about 8 millimeters thin, and it's certainly not the thinnest, but not the thickest either. Alright, in here runs an Intel Celeron N3450, which is a 1.1 GHz quad-core processor of the Apollo Lake generation. We're also getting 4 GB of RAM and a 64 GB internal storage. And the performance should actually be fine for most things. I already reviewed devices with the N3350 and N4200, and the performance of the N3450 is just in between. It's a lot better than an Atom X5 that we usually get with tablets at this price, like the Lenovo Mix 320 or the Asus Transformer Book Mini. They all have the Atom X5 inside, and yeah, that's kind of a low-end crappy chip, and the Apollo Lake chips are a lot better, but not as fast as an Intel Core M3. I already did run a Geekbench 4 benchmark, and you can see with the results here, the single core test is around 1400 and the multi-core test around 1400, 1400 and 1400, so 1400 and 4000 points, and that's pretty good. Let's go to mynexttablet.com to do some benchmark comparison. I reviewed the Acer Switch 3 recently with the N4200, and there I've got a couple of Windows benchmarks we can compare. So let's scroll down here, and there we go. So we have 1400 in the single core test, which is around here, and 4000 in the multi-core test, and you can see that the results are a bit weaker compared to the N4200, but higher than the N3350 and much higher than the Atom X5, but not as high as an Intel Core M series or I series chip. So that's totally to be expected, and the performance should certainly be fine for browsing the web, watching some videos, and doing some light Photoshop work. Although you have to remember that we've got a pretty high resolution here, and I already did try 2 games on this tablet, and there I noticed a problem with the high resolution, because this is not the fastest chip, and then if you have a kind of demanding game, then you have to turn down the resolution a bit. And I will be playing Cuphead, which is a fairly recent game for Windows and Xbox, and I installed it on here. Obviously Cuphead is not the perfect game for this tablet since it's 10 gigabytes, so it's kind of big game, especially if you only have 64 gigabytes storage, but it does run on here. If you have it on maximum resolution, then it does work, but it's kind of choppy. The frame rate is not super smooth, and that's kind of important with a game where you need some reflexes, otherwise you won't be able to play it very nicely. Alright, I'm starting Cuphead here. With the resolution turned down to Full HD, it works quite well. And I'm not sure if the controller is connected now. Let's do it again. And it's connected. And now we can play a bit of Cuphead. As I said, if you turn the resolution down to Full HD, it works quite nicely, and we will see that here now. It takes a bit longer to load than with the Core M3. I tested Cuphead on a Core M3 tablet already. That works quite nicely, but as you will see, it works on here as well. Just turn down the resolution a bit if you want to play some games. Although I did try Asphalt Extreme and didn't have to turn down the resolution, I just turned down the graphic settings a bit, and then Asphalt Extreme did run very smoothly. And now we're playing Cuphead here, and as you can see, you can play it quite nicely. It's certainly not the easiest game, but it's a very fun game with nice cartoonish-like graphics, old cartoonish-like graphics, and a nice soundtrack. As you can see, with turned down resolution, it works quite nicely. One downside, that's not anything wrong with the Shui High 13. If you start Cuphead, then the rotation is wrong on the tablet if you have it on full screen. I had it with 2 tablets already, so it can't be the Shui High 13's fault. So you have to play it in window mode like I just did if you want to have the rotation normal. Alright, let's disconnect the controller. And as you can see, the performance was certainly fine, but the display resolution is really high. So for games, it might be worth it to turn it down a bit, especially if you're playing a relatively high demanding game. But for office work and so on, the M3450 here should be totally fine for Microsoft Word and so on. I will be using it with the Microsoft Universal Keyboard. That's kind of a small keyboard for such a big tablet, but it certainly will work. And yeah, you can obviously get the keyboard dock. Alright, that's a quick hands-on unboxing with the Shoei Hi13. I will start my full review now. If you have any questions, please write them down below, and then I will try to include it in my final review, which should be out in like 2 weeks or something. I have to do battery test, further benchmarks, and play some games on here, do some office work, and write a couple of articles. Right, that's unboxing of the Shoei Hi13. I'm NJ for mynexttablet.com. Thanks for watching.